Hello and welcome to Stories, the True and the Fictional. We are a podcast that dives into the stories of people's lives, everyday people like you and me, or even famous people throughout history. We'll talk about TV shows, movies, books, anything where stories are involved. But it doesn't stop there. We want to get you, the listener, involved as well. So if you have a story, something funny or random that may have happened to you or a friend, send it to thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. So until then, strap in. It's story time.
I don't want to sound like some kind of conspiracy nut. They call it daylight savings. But how much time are we actually saving? Where does this extra hour go? Do the government bank it for a later day so they can continually raise the interest rates? Well, that seems exactly like what they're doing right now. And it coincides with this new interest rate rise that it happens to be daylight savings. So clearly, the government needs to be doing better, banking their time, because obviously Cthulhu, god of all things, needs to be fed hours of allotments of time, and we are clearly not saving enough time to feed Cthulhu. I believe we should change daylight savings and give Cthulhu, on average, 2 hours a week of pure time, just so we can have the world once again fall back into order. Welcome to a non-conspiratorial podcast. My stories, the true and or the fictional. I am, of course, one of your hosts. My name is Chris. I'm here with my illustrious host, a man who once had his penis in the Guinness Book of Records until the librarian told him to take it out, you sick bastard, James L. Bryden. How are you going, sir?
I'm going very well. But back on that conspiracy theory thing, look, if this is a government thing, I'm going to tell you why it isn't.
Okay.
Because they take the time in its entirety, and then a year later they give it back in its entirety.
Oh my god, you're right. If it was the government, they'd give 50% of the time back.
Yeah.
Not even that.
Yeah.
Oh.
But,
so clearly not government, shadow organization then. Clearly has to be some sort of...
What if it's early government, like
you mean like
George Washington government?
Oh, so like actual government.
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
Not big government, just,
No. Like, when you think about it, George Washington had like 13 colonies to worry about. He had it quite easy. I mean, half the population couldn't vote. Another half of the population couldn't vote, but for reasons that, that we won't go into. And so really he goes, I need to get these 6 dudes to agree with me. I mean, that's 7 dudes maybe, depending on the day.
Yeah.
How do you feel about daylight savings?
It's a pain. Like, honestly, until I got a phone that automatically changed the time for me.
Oh, that was that
was probably the best invention.
Game changer. No, like,
yeah.
Honestly, whoever invented the phone that did whoever thought that was the best feature, that is a feature that is underrated.
Yeah.
It was game-changing technology, and you're right. It is completely underappreciated how amazing that technology was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, have you ever tried to find? Apparently, it's got something to do with like voting or farmers or something, but I can't find a real good reason why we just randomly, roll back then roll forward. I'm just trying to.
I think it's got something to do with farmers, but as we know, speaking about conspiracy theories, the government want to destroy farmers. So
Well, then they should definitely do a better job with this whole daylight savings things.
Well,
they're not destroying enough of them. Clearly,
they should just throw it away, altogether, and then people go, "Wow, the sun's out a bit longer than usual."
I mean, I can't, I'm just trying to think of is there a real good reason? I just literally cannot find one in my head.
If you are listening to this podcast, send us an email to thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com and tell us all about, in as brief sentence as possible, why why daylight savings here in Australia or worldwide, to be honest.
Worldwide. I mean, it's a worldwide, pandemic, as we call it.
Except probably for those tribes out in the middle of the Amazon that haven't seen modern day man like ever.
Oh no, I reckon they have something just as stupid.
I can just imagine like some plane flies over and some it would be completely alien to them, and it's like parachuter drops down and epic stats. I bring to you daylight savings.
No. We go there. An explorer team goes there, and they find this Amazon village of and then they see this giant pointed rock, and they go like half of the year we move the pointed rock forward, and then we move the pointed rock back, and we change the time of our village. And people go, "Why do you do that?" And they start rolling their eyes, going, "I don't know. Like some elder started, and we kept going, and now we can't get rid of it."
So it's like that show that I never finished watching, Lost, where they're typing in the number, and no one knows why.
No one knows why. Absolutely.
Wow, I think we've discovered it.
Absolutely. I mean, speaking of Lost. That's the show that's the definition of maybe you should have a plot before you start the show. Like I think that's like that.
Well, again, I from memory, I think it was only supposed to have 15 episodes.
So it was one of those things that became successful, and so the studio went like, "Ooh, money."
Yeah. And they're like, "Where is this going?" I have no idea. Much like daylight savings, I have no idea.
Much like daylight savings, honestly, Lost makes just as much sense as daylight savings does.
Yeah. That's right. And speaking of daylight savings, this episode is sponsored by Rebecca Cassells and the Rising Dawn series. If you like werewolves, romantic werewolves, but not traditional werewolves, more a different take on werewolves, Henry Cavill werewolves, then check out Rebecca Cassells and the Rising Dawn series. Or you can buy it on Amazon in Kindle and paperback.
Henry Cavill werewolves. I mean, that to me seems like a TV show that needs to be made. It should be called Henry Cavill ... werewolves.
Honestly, I think you could put him in anything.
But I want this show to be a documentary series where he just goes around and talks to people about werewolf mythology.
Oh, okay. See, like I said, you can put Henry Cavill in anything.
Just basically going around to the towns and villages and exploring the in depth.
And then will it turn into a werewolf version of District 9 or whatever it is?
That's interesting. So yeah, we could start. You would start it off as like a hardcore documentary, and then towards the end they find a village of werewolves, and then the government comes in and locks them up, and then we can then full go just full District 9 it, just literally That makes complete logical sense. I am on board with this Henry Cavill, werewolves.
Yeah. All right, yeah.
But speaking of werewolves, you recently have come back from a long expedition into the wilderness to find hot witches. Now, was your expedition successful? Did you find any hot witches, and were there any dancing orgies or any orgies of any kind?
No, we were completely cut off. I did follow a set of tire tracks. So someone cycled in probably a few days, maybe even on this. I don't know if it was the same day because the weather was not with us. So this is a place down at south, like 3.5 hours south of Sydney, inland a little bit, called the Buttawang Range. 3 days in the wilderness.
Now, was this a hunt?
Yes, it was pretty funny actually because my dad got all the maps. And he says, now these maps are about 10 years old, but terrain's terrain sort of thing.
Yep.
But because I'd say a year ago the fires went through, and there was all this regrowth, all the tracks were barely visible. So we got lost about 3 or 4 times. And we just changed where we were going to sleep. So we slept in a cave, and it pissed down with rain every night. We couldn't go where we wanted to go, but we found a nice place, nice lookout. But do you know, I don't know if you know this Australian, there's an Australian bird called the whipbird.
No, I do not know.
You've probably heard it. It goes.
Oh yes, yes.
That's two birds. All right. So the male goes, and the female goes, sort of thing.
Really?
So we're like a day's hike from anything or anyone, and we're hearing all these birds, and so me and my nephew start making that noise. We start going and seeing if we can. We started confusing probably the mating habitual.
So you basically got a bunch of birds all riled up and ready for action, and then they came around the corner and went, "Hey, oh, what the fuck?"
Yeah, pretty much. Because
that's just cruel.
Yeah, because the male does a long whistle and then the female cuts them off. So that's like a perfect analogy for real life, right? Whenever a guy was talking, no, shut up, I'm going to tell a story. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we confused a whole lot of birds out there by doing mating calls. And I think at least, 2 out of 5 times we got them to respond.
Interesting.
And that was funny. But we also did... Do you remember the photo of me standing in front of a wave right before I get hit?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So you know how stupid I am sometimes and how crazy my family is.
I can't argue with that. Yep.
So basically, we hike into this place and we got to cross 2 rivers and a creek. Right? So we go in and they're shallow. Like the first one we have to take our shoes off because we don't get our shoes wet, and it's about ankle deep kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Get across that one. The next one is a shallow creek, has no water on it at all, and then the third one, it's about knee deep, and this is on the way in. Then we had 2 nights of rainfall. Then we had to go out, and the first river that was knee deep was now waist deep.
Okay,
and it was rapids. So we had to cross it. So we got a broken tree branch, lodged it between 2 skimpy looking bushes, and used it as a bar to kind of shimmy across. And my dad almost got swept away. I almost got swept away. And 3 other guys that came with us made it all right, but it's pretty funny. So, and we were carrying 50-kilo packs pretty much.
I still understand. So it's raining.
No, it only rained at night.
But you're trekking through the woods. There was no one around you.
No.
That went, you know what? Let's call it a day and head home.
No, well, the thing is, we should have said that. Let's head home, but because we got that lost, because we couldn't find the path because it was literally bush bashing. Like I kept going, don't run into the long grass, because that's what it was, but it was head height grass, and you just couldn't. You could barely find your way. But it only rained at night, and it rained pretty heavily at night. But the days were fine, pretty much, apart from a few drizzle. But then there was a really nice sunny day where we climbed one of the mountains and had a nice view. But then it was just like, because of those 2 nights of heavy rain, all the rivers we crossed went up drastically. And we had to cross 3 sets of rapids. And it's crazy.
I think you're just taking, your love for Last Man Standing to a bit of an extreme there, trying to be outdoor man.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even bring any of Outdoor Man's camping supplies, so if you died, it would have been your fault.
Yeah. Could have died, didn't die. But we had fun. I only got sucked by 1 leech.
Well, maybe you need to dress a bit more sluttier, and maybe attract more leeches if you really want to get.
Well, we did
some more abs.
we did spend a lot. No, leeches like ankles, Chris. Right?
Oh, they're old like school. Oh,
they
so
like
leeches. Wait. So leech society hasn't gone past like the 1920s. So we have a bunch of leeches going, oh, check out that ankle. Yes. Oh,
oh, I could nibble on that. Yeah, and then one got to my knee.
Oh, damn. Did you say, like, as it was crawling out, did you say Were you like, you forget yourself, sir, and like slap his hand away, or and like you go, oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. Your leg was so tantalizing.
It was on the outside of my pants, that one.
Well, of course, they didn't go into the pants during that era, Jamie. They were classy and respectful. You know?
Oh no, well the leech that got me, I didn't even see it. It basically came, fed, and left. And so it got into my.
You didn't get a marriage proposal from this.
No. Clearly,
there was no match. Oh my
no.
goodness, Jamie,
no.
Jamie.
I can't even get a second date with leeches. Jeez.
You show them the ankle, but you also show them that you have some salt. You let them know that you let them know
that you can kill them.
you let them know either way. This conversation can go either way. You can.
Yeah.
I mean, thinking on blood-sucking creatures, like, would you date a vampire?
No.
Why?
Because it'd be like controversial. It'd be like dating a vegan. I don't think I could do it. We got such different what do you call it? Meals, should we say?
Yes.
Like, because it'd be like I'd sit there and I'd have a nice juicy steak, and then they'd sit there, and then Jeffrey would come out and go, and then.
Or you know.
No, I wouldn't want to. No.
Really? I mean, okay. So let me get this straight. These little black slugs, you'll let them suck on your ankle.
Hey, no.
But a vampire that, let's just for argument's sake, it looks like Karen Gillian. You'd be like going, oh no, don't suck on my neck.
Then I'd be a vampire, and that'd be a different story.
Well, no, not again. Depends on the vampire lore we're talking about. Not unless she mixes her blood with you, then kills you. There's a whole thing there. She's just
Yeah, all right. No, well, look, I don't let leeches, suck on me. I find out at some point that they have. It's a little bit different.
Sounds like, again, you were going there. It sounds like you know exactly what the leeches are up to.
No, hey, we sprayed our boots and it didn't work, and it was very, very, very wet. But look, it was fun. It was an experience.
Just as the leeches like it.
I almost died, but I didn't. No. And we're planning to go back next year. So.
Well, make sure you bring plenty of salt.
Oh, I will.
And make sure you bring some damn sugar cubes. Again.
Hey, this isn't Chernobyl, mate.
Again, salt and sugar cubes. You can't go wrong. Any scenario in life can be fixed with either salt or sugar cubes. So apart from your daring adventures, has there been anything interesting you've been diddling with this week?
Look, I've watched a fair bit of 100, but I'm at the point where it's like kind of drizzling off.
Interesting, because you were so excited last week, and now you're in a downward spiral.
Well, look, the first 3 seasons are amazing, and then it's like, I don't know if they didn't really know what they're doing. Like, there's cool concepts, but it's like I don't know if it was last season, because I've just been binging it. They had to go under a bunker because another nuclear wave was coming across, and one of the people there found a way to deal with people that were being, lawbreakers, and basically underground gladiatorial arena.
Oh,
and I'm like, that's pretty badass.
I like that.
But yeah, but I got excited when I watched an episode, because I sent you the message, and it was like the backdraft, and I'm like, okay, I recognize this location. I paused it, screenshotted it, and then I went to Resident Alien, Harry's cabin.
Yep.
And it was the exact same location. And it spun me out. I'm going like, British Columbia.
I mean, it's a great place to film, great place to visit.
Yeah.
British Columbia, make it nationally.
Yeah. I will say this, I watched Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, interesting.
Have you seen it yet?
I have not. Again, and it's more so it's my, and I will admit, it's purely my, I don't pay for Tom Cruise films anymore. This stance, and I believe in my stance. But tell me about this movie, because I've heard people who said that Chris, you like military war like planes, you would like this movie. And I was going, it's got
Yeah, well,
it's got Tom Cruise.
I will tell you this one thing. I hated it for one reason.
Why?
It made me respect Tom Cruise again.
Oh no.
It was pretty damn good.
That's what I hear. I hear that's
and it's like I don't like this man, but this is a good movie. There wasn't enough Val Kilmer, but it was a good movie.
That's because the man can't speak.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, pretty much. But they incorporated him very well. But I can't fault the movie.
No, I mean,
cannot fault it
based upon the box office, performance.
Yeah,
nor can anyone else. I mean,
yeah, like it 80s soundtrack.
Oh, love it.
Throwbacks, callbacks to the original, done perfectly. And I'm going like, damn you, Tom Cruise. Damn you, Tom Cruise. I don't like you, Tom Cruise, but yeah, no, look, I think you have to watch it.
It sounds like I'm gonna have to watch this film. It sounds like I'm gonna have to break my one. I mean, actually, no. If I can get it now without paying for it, then I will.
I'm sure it'll be on streaming soon.
It'll be on one of the streaming sites, correct? As long as I can get it without paying for it, I will not have broken my new my new Tom Cruise rule.
Yeah.
Or as I like to call it, the Tom Cruise law.
Yeah.
I will not pay for his films because and
you don't like the man.
No, it's not that I don't like him. I think he's a fine young actor. That's also the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
He thinks he's a fine young actor. He is like 50.
Oh no, he's pushing 60. But
yeah, he needs to accept that.
And that's one of the messages in Top Gun.
Maverick. Oh.
It follows he just wants to fly. And they go, man, you gotta, like, they offer him a teaching job for a very insane mission, like with missiles, like, so they got to fly through a canyon.
Oh, okay.
And reach their target within a certain time, or they're going to be found, and the enemy has superior aircraft to them.
Of course.
Far more.
It's not a good film if they have decent aircraft.
Yeah. I don't want to say too much because it'll spoil it, but it is a surprisingly good film, and I recommend watching it.
You've partly convinced me, so I will at least give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'll try to get past the fact that it is Tom Cruise.
Yeah. But it's also Jennifer Connelly.
Interesting. You see, does that weigh that out?
Now, you've seen the original, yeah?
Yes.
There is also a character from the original, but it's the character's son. So there's the legacy as well.
Well, that's well. As King Richard says, well.
Yeah. No, but look, I can't think of anything else I've been doing. Oh, yeah, we started playing Spider-Man Remastered on PS5 and realized how addictive it was.
How many times have you played Spider-Man now?
I'd say this is my 5th playthrough.
Like,
and then I'm like, okay, I need to. Well, I'm a completionist, so I'm doing it on every difficulty.
Of course.
So that's at least half of the difficulties. But then I went, when's the next one coming out? Ugh, a year away.
Is it a year away? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
Yeah, but I'll survive. And the Wolverine game comes out roughly the same time. But
that doesn't make any sense. One of them will come up before the other.
Yeah. Now, Chris, before we dive into the topic at hand, I just wanted to get your take on a little thing that happened to me, because I know you're a very good puzzle solver.
Yep.
Right. Now, I went to this on the way home from our camping hiking trip. We stopped in this little country town, which I would say is like, if you could humor me for a second, the Kansas of Australia.
Ooh.
As in,
Kansas
there is no unattractive women there. They all look like country, like it's country town.
Yep.
And all the girls are beautiful blondes, ironically. But we stopped at this cafe, and these two people rock up. These two women, and they're wearing identical trench coats.
Mm-hmm.
Borderline Inspector Gadget,
Yep.
but probably a bit more nicer. Then we go into town to get the best donuts we've ever had, ever.
Yep.
And we see 3 more people wearing those exact same trench coats.
Interesting.
Like not standing together. These ones, here's one, there's one, there's one. I can't for the life of think of me, like what's going on? Is this a convention? Is there a sale?
They were all wearing trench coats.
They're all wearing these exact same trench coats.
And did the trench coat cover everything?
Yes.
Completely everything.
Completely everything bar. I think maybe, I think some had a button done up, some had a little bit open, but they were very, it wasn't open.
There are 3 possible explanations on this one.
No.
First one, small country town, fashions are limited, so they all think that's a great look. That's one I would say is the most unlikely. Second one, they all work either at some kind of gentleman's establishment or some sort of, some sort of restaurant that requires an outfit that you probably won't wear outside of said restaurant. And henceforth, they're wearing the trench coat, to cover that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Third, and this was the one I feel far more likely of all the scenarios of this particular event, they're all about to go surprise their boyfriends at work. They are completely naked underneath, and there just happens to be several very lucky men within the town.
It's also a very high touristy area.
Again, this is the one I think is the most likely. I think
cool.
Option 2 maybe, but I'm thinking, you know what, Jamie, I think you've got an option, a category 3 there, 100%.
Cool. You've put my mind at ease. Thank you, Mr. Park.
I mean, again, the chances of being just a fashionable trench coat also quite high, but again, I still maintain of the scenario you've given me, they're all going to the office to surprise their boyfriends or husbands, and it's going, and that is exactly what they planned that day.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest thought was like, oh, there must have been some sale on, but no, that's too easy.
Too easy.
Yeah.
Far too easy.
Yeah.
No sale. Have you ever had that problem though? Speaking of things that are far too easy, have you ever had the problem when you start a video game when there's a character creator and a class selector? You've played the introduction like 5 hours because you keep starting and restarting.
Skyrim, #Skyrim.
Like I had this problem actually fairly recently. I will say I got the new video game which I've been actually waiting for. It's Pathfinder, so it's based on sort of like it's D&D. It's a Wrath of the Righteous. I probably restarted that game. I think for the first day, I played it over and over again, up to the same point, trying to figure out what like the best class was, because I was like going, I don't know, I don't know what I want to do. I'm not sure, because there's so many options in terms of classes and appearances and skills, and do I want to play like a true story go through, or do I want to just basically find like the best build, the min-maxing so design? It's like I'm going to make the most powerful human alive, give myself 6 intelligence so I can use all the points and just basically build the most insane, like ridiculous character available. So I did that a few times. Then I realized that I was the dumbest person alive, because they figured out that people would do this. So at the first town you go to, there's a dude that goes, "Hey, I'll reset your character for free." And basically at that, you can basically go to the guy and you can literally just reset everything from your name, race, class. I was going, well, that was a giant waste of time.
Yeah.
Wish that should have been told to me, like when they first made the, when you start the game, they should say, "Hey, Mr. Indecisive, when you get to the first town, we've got a guy for you. Just go, if you're not sure, talk to him."
Yeah.
That would have made my life a lot. Like, I mean, I know that introduction now very well because I played it like so many times.
Yeah.
It's very like I said.
Yeah.
It's a very good introduction. I know it particularly well.
Yeah.
But before we get onto that, you said you had some interesting articles you wanted to bring up.
Yeah, I got one that I thought you would be interested in. The headline is "Trail of Slime Leads German Customs to a Bag of Giant Snails." So, in Berlin, German customs officials say a trail of slime led them to a stash of almost 100 giant African land snails and other items hidden inside bags at Dusseldorf Airport this month. In a statement Friday, authorities said officials stumbled over one of the snails on a baggage truck and initially thought it was a toy until it started moving. By following the trail left by the 20-centimeter snail, which is about 8 inches, they found a bag with a hole with another snail already peeping out of it.
Now, do you think that they had gotten together? Do you think this is a little like would you think this was a Hansel and Gretel scenario?
Well, do you want to know what else was in the bag?
What was in the bag?
Okay. 93 giant snails.
Mm-hmm.
So the rest probably got away. 28 kilograms of fish and smoked meat, and a suitcase full of rotting meat. So it had all been imported from Nigeria and were destined for an African goods store in Western Germany.
I was going to say, was it a French person's bag? Because that sounds like something he would really enjoy.
Oh no, where are my snails?
It sounds like
the
snails were taken against their will. They had overcome their adversity. They had basically, the snails had rallied together, led by Shaka Snail, the leader of the snails, and he had basically orchestrated, for snails to basically break through what I can only assume is a canvas bag would require a tremendous amount of effort and teamwork.
Yeah, well, there was 93 of them, or 98 or something.
But to get 93 snails all pointing into the same direction for the singular common goal, you know what? It's
a Disney Pixar movie.
Not only that snail should be president. I think that snail could do incredible work, like in terms of getting everyone on the common goals. You know what? I've decided that German airport bag snail for president. Agreed.
Cool.
But before we move on, I do have to ask you something. I do have to say something to you, Jamie.
Yep, go for it.
I told my wife she needs to start embracing her mistakes. So she hugged me.
Wow.
My son chewed on an electrical cord today. Due to his current conduct, I had to ground him. Where do boats go when they're sick?
Oh,
to the dock. Where do bad rainbows go? Prism. It's just a light sentence.
Oh yeah, I've heard that one.
You don't like those ones?
No, look. The Prism one was a bit but they're funny.
Okay, let's see you do better.
Give me prep time.
Why can't you send a duck to space?
Something to do about a bill?
Exactly, because the bill would be astronomical. I once got fired from a canned juice factory. Apparently, I couldn't concentrate.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
Okay, speaking of ideas that you think are going to land, but probably didn't land as well as you would have wanted them to. I believe it's time if we touch on to obviously our primary topic for the evening.
Yes.
So, why don't you lead us into this one, James L. Bryden, because you sort of thought it up.
Well, as you know, as many people will know, there is a world of video games and there's a world of cinema. Yet somehow when we try to combine them, they don't always land. I'd say primarily they don't land.
I think that's a fair thing to say that they don't land.
I mean, it is a rarity. Just like Tom Cruise doing a movie that we can stand.
Yeah. So Tom Cruise has made what, 3 good movies in his career? 4, maybe.
Yeah, but then there's probably a lot of ones we don't even remember because we switched off. Like because we could probably count them all on one hand.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Last Samurai.
Yep.
Minority Report. Would you say Minority Report was a good one? Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Maybe for its time.
For its time.
Edge of Tomorrow.
I love that one. Yep. Okay.
Fantastic.
I'll definitely give that one to Tom Cruise.
We can't say Top Gun Maverick because you haven't seen that yet, but I would.
The original Top Gun, I'd say absolutely.
Yep. The Mum. No. I'm struggling to think.
So there you go. So there are some Tom Cruise movies.
Yeah, I didn't mind War of the Worlds at the time.
And Jerry Maguire, absolutely.
Show me the money.
All right, okay. So they're about what?
Yeah.
5, maybe 5.
Like I said,
Tom
one
Cruise
hand.
films. Yeah, one hand.
But the same can be said about video game movies.
I don't even think the good ones can go into one hand.
Yeah, exactly. It was interesting. I watched the Uncharted one with my parents. My parents don't know anything about the video games at all, and they absolutely loved it.
Really?
Yeah. Because they didn't have to deal with it going, okay, that's not the best casting. I didn't like that because we have played the games. So it's clear that they're doing hey, let's do this movie for the people that haven't played the games.
Interesting.
And all the people that play the games go and see it and hate it.
Okay. That's I mean, you're probably right about that. But all right. So there have been a number of attempts at these, video game franchises. Jamie, in your mind, what do you think is the reason why they suck? Or, no, I think that's the right terminology. Why do you think that they suck?
Why do I think that they suck? Probably because you're taking most of these video games have stories, in-depth stories already, and you're taking them and you're trying to retell the same story but in a different way.
Just on that particular point, some of the best adaptations of film are from books where they do exactly what you just said. So
the problem is books, for the better part, are so in depth that you've got a lot to work with. There's no way that you could actually really do them justice. I mean, you can, but you can't, if you know what I mean. Like, because you always hear those people that say, "Oh, the book's better," but
yeah,
I don't.
True, but having said that, you could, yes, you could always say the book's better, but I think you could, point to right now currently 2 franchises that Lord of the Rings, the first 3 movies, and Harry Potter. I know you hate Harry Potter, Jamie. I know that you think it's for muggles, and even though you don't understand that terminology, but you could definitely feel that that's something that's done well. And
that's true. Fair point.
And there are other ones that are from books that we probably don't actually realize are from books until you realize they're from books, and then
Well, here's maybe the thing. Because it's a video game, we already have a vision. This is what it is. This is what it looks like. And half the time they don't capture what it looks like, albeit we mentioned Uncharted with Tom Holland. I say that casting, it was an okay movie. They captured some set pieces that were straight from the game, and that got me excited. The plane, the opening sequence of the movie is Tom Holland waking up with his ankle caught in a crate, which is falling at the back of a plane. Which we all know from Uncharted 3, the cargo scene.
Yep.
They captured that brilliantly in the 2018 Tomb Raider. They captured the tone of the game very, very well. So there's always aspects of it that are appealing, but I just, everyone has the idea in their head because they've seen it. Now, you want a character that looks like the character,
but I think there's a few points that you touched on there that I think quite good. Also, let me just also point out that every single anime is from actually a manga, which means that things can be adapted quite well if done respectfully. But I think you touched on something very well, that what things look like.
Yeah.
Having said that, this is the one thing that I will give them some leeway on in terms of look and vision. There are some things that work visually, even in a book as well as a game, that just will not translate well into a film.
Yeah, true.
There are some things that like if you translated Nathan Drake directly into a film, yes, he would be it would be that he the look was fine and everything.
Yeah.
But you'd also be watching this movie going, this dude's the biggest mass murderer in the history of the universe. He has killed like so many people.
Yeah.
But there are also apparently some other considerations that we don't even think about, where certain armor, whilst on screen, doesn't look good because of the color scheme doesn't like translate well against the green screens. And there's a few, and it's also about casting, because essentially you try to cast someone that's finding an actor that's decent is one thing alone.
Yeah.
Finding an actor that then looks like the person that you're trying to cast it to on is another thing. So there's always been there are some movies there, I think, where they do too much to try to make it look like the game. So perfect example was the Warcraft.
Yeah,
Warcraft
that's very
film.
true.
So the Warcraft film, made with the studio, they worked on everything together. They made all the armor look like it was from the video game.
Yeah.
But that does not look good on a movie. It looks fucking ridiculous. The armor looked cheap, even though it wasn't. There was very clearly very expensively made armor.
Yeah.
But you just wouldn't send a soldier out to battle wearing that armor.
Yeah.
It's just, and because they tried to tell a story, so they're saying, but we have a lot of video game players who are horde players, so we have to make the orcs not bad. So going, don't care where like most unfortunate things, if there are humans in it, humans are going to want to root for the humans.
Yeah.
Trying to make the orcs good as well, you kind of splitting your hairs there. So you can go too far one direction, I think, in terms of that regard. So, but part of me feels, I don't know if you agree, Jamie, or not, that sometimes the story just is not there in the video game.
Yeah.
And whilst there are some cool set pieces and visuals, I don't think I don't think the story is warranted enough to make something out of it.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on that?
No, well, that's definitely true, but then at the same time, some of the, at least with Sonic the Hedgehog, I love those movies, and because Sonic has no story from memory, the games have no story.
And there you go. They have a very loose story.
Yeah.
But because the story is basically Hedgehog fast, gets rings, fights Robotnik.
Yeah.
Everything else can be like added to, and then you're watching that going, that's good. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because of those very limited story details, obviously, and this is always one of those things. People want to make their own thing, and so if you give them something and say respect this law, they're going to kick and scream and go, no, I want to change everything. So Sonic's probably the best thing to adapt because of its one, you're right, lack of story. But on this, what do you think in your mind are the best, the absolute top shelf adaptations that you can think of, in terms of when you go back and watch something that's a video game movie? What's something that you would go back and even watch now and go, yeah, that's good?
Well, look, I'm going to say Sonic, because like you said when we walked out of the cinema, that movie had no right to be that good.
Yep.
It was just magical for me. I still and always will stand by the 2018 Tomb Raider, because it. Have you watched it?
Yeah, but I mean, wouldn't you think that the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider was better?
Not really. No.
Are you sure?
I'm quite sure.
Are you positive?
They did not hold up.
They do. They hold up. They hold up. The first movie of that series holds up spectacularly.
When was the last time you watched it?
I can't remember, but from memory, it holds up spectacularly.
From memory, I'm scared to watch them.
It holds up well. Angelina Jolie was the perfect Tomb Raider.
Well, yeah, she looked like the character from the game.
Yeah,
her boobs weren't triangle, but
that's true. I mean, they couldn't get everything correctly. Triangle boobs are difficult to do.
Yeah, but just like with the 2018 one, she looked like the newer game.
Yeah, but the new game's not as good as the original game, so.
Yeah, well, I'd agree with that. I definitely agree with that. But I just preferred that. Look, I didn't, and I know this is controversial, I didn't mind Prince of Persia.
That was going to be actually my list item. I actually enjoyed Prince of Persia. I thought that was a fine film. It's one of those films where they probably didn't need the video game license. It probably would have been a fine film without it. But they
Yeah.
wanted the name recognition. I think that's as close as you're gonna get to a very good adaptation. They adapted a few video games into one. I thought the cast was, the cast was fine. Again, he looked like the video game character. So
Yeah.
that's essentially Jake Gyllenhaal. That's what they were going for. I think in terms of the time, it was obviously they're trying to very much try to do that sort of, I guess, Pirates of the Caribbean-esque vibe. But no, I to your point, yeah, I agree. I think that was a really good one, a really good attempt anyway.
Yeah. Look, we're probably going to agree with a lot. I loved the Mortal Kombat one they did, the latest one.
I think the original one was better.
What about the Annihilation? Did you like that one?
The lines in that were spectacular. I mean, the dialogue in that movie is just to this date, it's basically Citizen Kane. It's just Look, the original Mortal Kombat gave us the greatest song of all time.
Yeah.
And so, sorry. Whilst I think the new Mortal Kombat was good, I have a big problem with that movie.
What?
He made his own fucking character to put it into games. Like, I'm sorry, you make this random dude when you have a roster of 50 people. You have a roster of 50 people. And then, even if you wanted to say, no, I want an Asian lead. Well, how about of the 10 Asian characters in that game, that could have been in the lead? I don't know,
So you don't like buying new games and then going, oh, new character.
Look, that's one of the greatest things about Tekken, and there's always a new character. But I mean, again, if you're making a Tekken film, you're making it about Jin Kazama. If you're not making it about Jin Kazama, you are basically breaking the universe.
Yeah.
If you're making a Mortal Kombat movie and Liu Kang is not your primary, Liu Kang and Johnny Cage are not your two primary characters in terms of, Scorpion, okay, I'll put Scorpion at those three characters. So Liu Kang, and Sonya. So if those four are not your big four in terms of your characters, in terms of the leads, it is saying something that a random Australian man basically stole that entire film because all he did was be Australian, is an indication of probably had the strength of that script.
There you go.
But my problem with that movie also is that not to get nitty gritty, but let's do it. He tried to explain away why they had powers, like why they could shoot energy. Why? You don't have to explain away that at all. They're trying to say, would the middle class listener really understand they had who cares? Just these people study a martial art that gives them powers. Cool, done. Yeah. It doesn't do. They got a special symbol. That special symbol gives them special. It's like, no, shut up. Just be like, no. These people study martial arts. They can shoot shit at from their hands. It is a very. It's like when they did the Dragon Ball Z movie and they tried to explain why Goku could do the Kamehameha because it's a wind technique. So I'm going, shut up. No, it's not. I don't. It's because he's concentrating his energy, his chi into a singular point, and that's how. Whatever. I'm not going to go into if we're not going into animes. We might do that. We might do another one where anime films, that have become terrible. They try to westernize. But to the Mortal Kombat point, you didn't need to explain away why they have powers. You could just be going, holy shit, these people have powers. How? Because they trained for them. Okay, cool. All right. So you mean anyone could train and get those powers? Yes. All right, cool. Done. Move on.
Yeah.
You're in a universe where there is multiple realms fighting for supremacy of Earth. You don't need to explain why they have powers because they can simply say there are multiple beings now fighting for the supremacy of Earth, and also there are now gods actively picking fighters to go fight.
Yeah.
You don't need to explain why this special mark gives them powers. You know what gives them powers? Because, now a god picked up. Come on, it's
Yeah.
So, look, having said that, I do want him to make another one. But I don't think they will get a chance. but I just, they had a perfect actor who played Luke Kang perfectly. He wasn't the main character. I can't fathom why he wasn't the main character. I know that's like I want to be doing something different. I want to, I want to do like, I know he wanted to do this whole, I want to do this whole fish out of water thing, so he can have a character that you can explain things to.
Yeah.
If that's the case, bring Johnny Cage into it, the perfect person who's like, what the fuck's going on? Then that's, but no. Well, we're on a real tangent there, but I feel very strongly. I feel very strongly about
Now tell me all about your love of Super Mario Brothers.
Are we talking about the greatest video game adaptation of all time?
The 1993 one with
1993.
Bob Hoskins as Mario.
That movie was spectacular. John Leguizamo, what's his? I can't pronounce his name. The guy who played Luigi.
Yeah, and he's in John Wick.
Yeah.
And he's Sid the Sloth from Ice Age.
Yeah, yes. I don't think you could do a better adaptation to Mario than this one. Yes, they're not running around going, "It's me, Mario," and it's not ridiculous. But in terms of a real world gritty Mario, I think they've done it. I think they did an exceptional good job. They even pay homage to the outfits. They had the right outfits on. They even gave them special jump boots, which which take it or leave it, it was cool. Special jump boots. I remember watching that movie as a kid, going, "This is incredible. This is the best thing ever."
Yeah, I'm sure we watched it together multiple times.
Yeah, I think it was, and what I really love about it was they did the whole end credit sequence where they were setting up the second film. I was like going, "Oh shit, things are about to get real."
And then it didn't come.
But, was that a good adaptation? Yes. But they were just paving the way for the greatest adaptation, which is obviously Street Fighter. With Ruel Julia's performance, M. Bison, the greatest acting performance of all time, but apart from that, a real shitty film. Again, this is one of those things. Again, back to my point. Sometimes video games have unbelievable things in it. Sometimes they try to explain it away and get in like with all these like adding to the law. It's like, no, that's not the law you should add to. Fix, like, we don't explain. No one explains why Sonic can run fast. You can just run fast. That's cool. We don't need to. But then that's all you have to have it as. And I think Street Fighter can actually be a very good one for an adaptation to a movie. And there was actually there was like a YouTube video where like these dudes basically made like 6 episodes of thing, and it was honestly they got it absolutely perfect on how it should be.
Yeah.
So obviously people know everyone but Hollywood knows exactly how it has to happen. But look, great film, terrible film at the same time. So it's one of those. That film is a double-edged sword on.
You love to hate, you hate to love.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then if we're talking about adaptations, let's talk about the one that's been going the longest, the Resident Evil freaking franchise.
Well, they must be doing something right.
I mean, they've gone so far from what Resident Evil was in terms of anything.
So it's the Fast and the Furious effect.
Fast and the Furious effect. Basically, they built an entire film series, which is, I think, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 films.
Mm-hmm.
They built 6 films from this, and they loosely based it on the video game. As in, there's a corporation umbrella, evil corporation, blah 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 blah, and they every now and then grabbed characters from the video game, but then like let you go, oh, that's from the video game.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, but apart from that, it was its own thing, and you know what? Not the worst way of doing it. Just saying, we're using it for brand recognition. But apart from that, we're just gonna do our own thing.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think I ever saw the first one.
Really?
I think I saw 2, 3, and 4, and that was it.
Yeah, they are not terrible films.
Yeah.
They're not good films. But I wouldn't say that they are, terrible.
There's far worse films.
How did you feel about the Assassin's Creed film?
Look, I like Michael Fassbender, so
Obviously, look, they got points for having Fassbender in it. Absolutely, no,
yeah.
not questioning.
These are my points. 1 point for Fassbender. 2 points. The stunt double actually did a proper leap of faith thing.
Okay.
Off an actual, like a crazy height. So it wasn't CGI or anything. Someone actually did one off like a crane or something. It was insane. So points to that, that they got authenticity. That someone dressed up as Michael Fassbender and did a forward flip off a insanely high building or a crane or whatever it was. But honestly, forgettable. And they did the thing that people didn't like. Too much time in the present.
I was just going to say, it's like they went to the Ubisoft developers and they go, "What do people love at the game?" Ubisoft goes, "Oh, people love the present." It's like, no, we don't. We try to skip past that scenes as quick as like.
It was okay. The present was cool in the first one, where it hadn't been done before. Okay, and you're getting this balance of this character. You're learning about this two characters essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got to the point where everyone's like, I just want to run around, and be a pirate. Stop taking me out of this.
I want to be a pirate. I want to be a Viking. I don't care about this person's quest to save the world. I honestly, I could take it or leave it. You're right. And they, you're right. They did it. They went there. They did the annoying thing. I hate that they do that because again, that could have been something. It could have been. It could have been great, but because of that, it was. I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna be all hyperbolic to say that movie was an abject failure and the greatest failure of all time.
Oh no, it wasn't. But
it was just like it was like okay, like it was like, okay, like
Like I didn't hate that I watched it. I just watched it once and that was enough.
Yeah, you watch it once and like I said, I watched it once. And I didn't again, and I was like going, okay, cool. That was it.
Yeah.
I was done. One and done.
One and done. Yeah, but I didn't mind Rampage with The Rock.
The Rock. Again, The Rock can save many things. I'm not sure if he saved that one.
Yeah. No, look, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. Like again, it was another film.
Yeah, it was a film.
that I sat through.
Yep.
I got what I wanted. Someone got eaten by a giant.
Someone got eaten by a giant dinosaur,
which happens from the game, and it's a shame because it had potential. Because the game is just, hey, you're a monster, just go destroy this city. So that they had plenty of plot to work with. free.
Yeah, basically,
free reign.
It's just a simple. The story is actually quite simple. Yeah, isn't it? It's basically hey, science went bad. People now monsters. Monsters now eat city.
Yeah.
Tried, true, tested. Everyone can get behind. Monster eat city.
And hey, it had The Rock and Joe Mangalo.
Hey, if you got The Rock and you have Joe Mangalo, you have two outstanding. That's two outstanding characters. Right there, like at that point, you've almost got your film. Like right there, like just with those two characters alone, that's almost your film.
Yeah, but look, remember Max Payne?
I didn't even know that was a thing. And then I just looked it up then, and then there was a movie called about Max Payne.
I remember we watched it. Like we legit watched it.
I barely can remember that.
Yeah, I can barely remember it. See, because when I looked it up again, I realized that I didn't even realize Mila Kunis was in it.
Was she?
Yeah.
That is surprising.
So I think the greatest thing she ever did was Book of Eli, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's another story. Now, Jamie.
Yes.
Part of people's issues with video game adaptations is obviously they say, a game is maybe 30 hours long.
Yeah.
Maybe more. Do you think then The Last of Us show on HBO would then actually be the best chance of success because it's not limited to an hour and 20 minutes on screen? It's basically, 8 episodes plus however long it's going to be. Do you think that this is probably the best, if not only chance to really nail a video game movie.
Well, is this the first video game TV series? Because I can't think of any TV series other than Resident Evil that they recently did. Didn't they?
They recently did that,
Yeah.
and they screwed up, but that's a separate problem. But this is the first one that's, I think that I'm probably wrong. It's probably not the first one.
Yeah.
But it's the first one that's really got any sort of weight behind it, if that makes sense.
It looks like they're doing the right thing in the sense of TV series, because you couldn't cram that epic season story into a movie. There's no way.
No, it wouldn't fit.
But I worry how much they're going to take away, like, because the game was so good. I worry. I almost want them to do shot for shot, like they did with Beauty and the Beast when they read it. It's a shot for shot. Just do a shot for shot. Just do a shot for shot. You have a script. It's like a musical. It's like a stage play. You just tell the same story. Not too happy with the casting. I think they missed this chance with Hugh Jackman and the girl from Logan. That could have been perfect.
But isn't that also the problem though with this Last of Us film, where clearly Hugh Jackman and the director saw Last of Us and went, let's do that, but let's do it better, and they basically made the greatest film of all time.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you know what? Thanks to that comment, I'm now going to compare the two. So congratulations, Jamie. Like, congratulations. I'm now going to watch the Last of Us TV series, comparing it to Logan, going, Logan's better.
Look. Yeah, and again, it's a visual problem. Like, I want to see characters that look like, to the characters in the game, and they're completely different. Not that I don't hate Pedro Pascal. He's a good actor. His finest work, you never see his face, but yeah, look, I am skeptical about The Last of Us. I'm worried, but then it's got Nick Offerman in it, so I'm like, I know who he's playing, but I'm worried. I'm worried because it's the video game thing. But I'm gonna have to be optimistic because it's a TV series, so far visually it looks pretty good.
It's as best as you can hope for. Is what I'll just say on that one. Now, if they change the story in any way, shape, or form, I will murder them. And but again,
wait, okay, are you talking any of the story or major points?
Where they go, who they speak to,
Yeah.
Take a minute.
But outcome,
because essentially it's the relationship they build up and the trust they build up, and then obviously when he goes back and basically decides, when he destroys everyone with, which is my favorite moment in video game history, where you just basically walk through just, killing a whole bunch of doctors. If they leave that as it is, cool.
Yeah.
Who they speak to, they look again. As I said, they will. It's an adaptation, which means they will have to change things because certain things just do not work.
Yeah.
The amount of ladders and you're pulling and lifting her up, you could not do that in a movie. That's so.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll pay homage to the game in some way or another.
Okay, if they do it once, that's fine. Once is fine.
I want to see him pressing his ear to the wall very a lot. Superhero.
Yeah. No, I want to see him just basically every 10. I want to see him walking every 10-second, crafting something with his hands. Basically, constantly just basically making things and going bomb, puts it away, a new bomb, puts it away, and then sees he's got too many things in his hands, throws one of the bombs at someone, kills them, then takes these items and starts crafting some more.
You've got to give me at least one Molotov.
Oh no, they're going to be Molotovs. But I want there to be just always be crafting. Basically, the one rule in that game is what? Always be crafting. So I want to see basically as he's talking to Ellie, these huge, amazing story moments, him just crafting along the way, building his weaponry.
Yeah. Or raiding houses.
Raiding houses, basically stealing, swiping anything that's not But the issue that with that game is, and the issue with this is going to be is, it's something we've seen before in many different movies in terms of zombie apocalypse. It's going to be like, Walking Dead, like Fear the Walking Dead, Tales of the Walking Dead, Walking Dead NCIS. I don't know, like Walking Dead. Yeah,
I want to see Walking Dead NCIS now. Are the zombies a little more intelligent and they're figuring out who has murdered their friend? Is that the NCIS?
No. The NCIS is there are smart zombies and they are basically like investigating other zombies doing crimes. But the crimes are, they investigate a zombie. I hear that you found like 6 people and you let them go. That's not, you meant to bite their necks and rip out their brains, and they arrest that zombie for crimes, crimes for humanity. So basically, helping, basically finding and tracking down those zombies, trying to help people, and stamp that shit out.
You're supposed to rip open the stomach.
Exactly.
Get those intestines.
Yep. Basically, just just. And I want the same cast as NCIS too. So I want to bring back every single person to be in my zombie NCIS.
But they're zombies.
They're the zombies, yes.
and there's one where the aviators and still.
Yes. No, but also the dialogue.
That's CSI.
That's CSI. That's Horatio from CSI.
Yeah.
But I definitely want the dialogue to be the same, almost identical, except for just zombies. Instead of petty officer, zombie.
Yeah, and this kind of works because NCIS were the villains of Jag.
They were. That's I keep forgetting that they were the bad guys because like Harm was basically was representing someone who had been committed a crime. NCIS were coming in saying we've got proof he did the crime, and you're like, damn those NCIS, and then they went on to have a much more successful show. But also watching that show, I'm like going shocked how much crime there is in the naval academies, and basically how many crimes are these petty officers all around the book. Like, shouldn't we shut down the Navy at that point for the sheer number of crimes?
Well, it's like all these small town murder shows.
There shouldn't be that many people.
Either they're all dead, or people would leave.
Would they? No, because you say that. I think they would attract the weirdos who love that. Okay, what's the biggest podcast on the internet, Jamie?
Well, I don't know what the biggest podcast is.
What's the biggest type of podcast?
The genre is true crimes.
Exactly. So you would have basically small town things. People would flock there to live there so they can get murdered.
That's a little weird.
Prove me wrong.
I'm not going to prove you wrong by moving to a small town where I may or may not get murdered.
Well, clearly not. You're the murderer, so you're fine. You're fine. You're going to do the murdering. You're not going to move to the small town for the murders. You're going to do the murdering.
But what if all the murderers move to a small town?
At that point, you just got Battle Royale. I mean, also, from a TV show standpoint, who wouldn't want to see that?
Yeah, I think that could work.
I mean, I think they've already done that actually. I think they've already done Freddy versus Jason.
Well, they could call it. That's just 2. They could call it City of Dexters.
Oh, City of Dexters.
Well, that's the only murderer that I can think of. No.
Well, he's the most famous of them all.
Yeah.
And you know what I love about that TV series?
What?
The implied incest. Because he does in fact date his sister, who's not really his sister, but he's his sister, and then he marries his sister. Well, the actor marries the person playing his sister. So again,
oh wow, that's
beautifully implied incest, bringing the topic full circle.
It's a new drinking game. How many times can we get Chris to say implied incest? Or imply implied incest.
Imply. Again, I said it a few times, but again, that's just a perfect analogy of implied or potential.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up, is there any other points you want to make about your terrible choice in video game movies?
No, look, I still have hope. I still believe that one day someone will come along and go, "This is how you make a movie." adapted from a video game, and then he will pave the way for people to go, okay, so this is how we do it, and then we'll have wonderful video game movies.
You see, the reason why I know that's not going to happen?
Why?
Because there was a man who came forward and he said, I'm going to adapt the impossible. And he made 3 amazing films, and everyone said, here is how you make something based on 3 books to create something so fantastic that it holds through the test of time today. Here's how you craft genius. Here is how you gift to the people their love of their universe. We create something, we have new things inside of there, such as the Battle of Helm's Deep, where there actually was elves there. They weren't there in the books, but they explain it, because they wanted to have the elves involved, because it was basically the war of, Middle Earth. They couldn't show all the battles, so they condensed all the battles into one sort of quasi battle, which was Helm's Deep, which was fine. And they made some other small changes like that, but they each change was still respectful to the source material. At the time, people were so upset that they cut out the character Tom Bombadil because they were saying he's an important character. He goes, that's just a dude that plays the violin and dances around a lot. Yeah, for a 6-hour movie, they probably had to make some cut somewhere. They showed the perfect blueprint on how to do this. Who's followed it since, Jamie?
Fair point.
What would happen is this person would make the greatest video game movie, and then everyone would look at that and go, you know what? I like my way better.
On that note, why hasn't no one adapted the very first video game? Why is there no Pong movie?
Didn't we get that Balls of Fury?
No, that's ping pong. That's different. That's table tennis. That's not a video game adaptation.
Yeah, the movie that couldn't get Jack Black, so they did their best to get as close to Jack Black as possible.
But they got Christopher Walken, so
fair point.
And I believe who's the girl that plays Nikita?
Maggie Q was in it as well. Yes.
So they got some decent folks.
Decent folks.
But it goes against your film criteria of being PG.
I enjoy a good PG film at times. I even enjoy some of Jack Black's films. So there you go. Mm-hmm. Proved you wrong once.
Okay, again. Quickly, what's a Jack Black movie you like?
Nacho Libre.
All right, yeah.
Because of how sarcastic he is as a priest, he's like going, "Oh, it's fantastic! You get to spend the rest of your life alone. It's fantastic." I'm like,
But does he do the Jack Black scream?
He does, and then he also he sings a song about breaking his vows, and then doesn't break his vows, and then he's like, whatever. it's honestly of all his films, it's probably the one I like the most because it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
just because it's just, it's ridiculous.
He was in that Will Smith movie,
Enemy of the State.
Yes,
he was the hacker on the computer. Yes,
he's done a lot of different films.
Yep, and you know what? Initially, I didn't like him. But I've come around on that one where I'm saying, you know what, some of his films aren't terrible.
Yeah. I think he's another Adam Sandler. Hit and miss. He's got his quirks. They both kind of scream.
But Jack Black, School of Rock was a fine film.
Yeah, I watched that the other day.
Teach anytime you have a movie to teach kids about real music is a film worth watching.
Yeah.
All right. I think that is all we have to say on the topic.
Yep.
Before we go, Jamie, do you want to do the plugs as always?
I shall plug. Plug away. Thank you for listening, guys. Please remember to check out Rebecca Cassells' series of the Rising Dawn series, available on Amazon in various formats, Kindle, paperback. Please like, subscribe, share. The podcast stuff that you always hear when you listen to a podcast and they say, please like, subscribe, share. Help us get out there. If you want to come on as a sponsor, please head over to buymeacoffee.com/STTATF. Link will be in the show notes. You can sponsor us if you like. Will be much appreciated. We do have a few more interviews coming up. We're getting Jack Roney back on. He is a crime writer Got a series of books. First one's called The Angels Wept. Ryan absolutely loved it. I've been meaning to read it. And he's just released a book called, what's it called? The Ghost Train and the Scarlet Moon, I believe. It's very, it looks like it's Stranger Things meets Stand By Me.
Ooh, interesting.
But apparently it's been doing really well, so we're going to get him on to talk about that. But
Fantastic.
Other than that, thanks for listening, guys. And as Chris always likes to say, we bid you adieu.